Hey guys, what's up? My name is Chloe and I'm a private pilot, and today I flew a VFR cross country from St. Augustine to Gainesville. Just building that cross country time for my commercial, guys. You know the deal. So I took off from 3-1 over here, landed on 2-5 over there. It was a nice little hop, 1.6 total. I like going to Gainesville from St. Augustine. It's a good way to build cross country hours throughout the month without breaking the bank. That's why I have a lot of Gainesville entries in my logbook, actually. But yeah, just getting on this runway on that center line and putting full power to throttle. Checking to make sure all the gauges are green. Tachometer is normal. Watching that airspeed come alive. These are just some of the things I repeat to myself at every takeoff, and rotating and saying to myself, right rudder, right rudder, right rudder, right rudder. My first CFI, this is how absolutely sure I am that the whole primacy thing is real. My first CFI was from Alabama, and every single time I take off, I think to myself, right rudder, right rudder. Every single time. I only flew with him for 16 hours. But it is his voice that is in my head every single time I take off. It's so true about the primacy thing. Making that left turn out at 700 feet to the southwest. So, what's funny is that I don't know if you've noticed in my other videos or maybe in this video, I'm not sure if you noticed, I'm from New York. I'm a New Yorker. You know, it really comes out when I'm around other New Yorkers, especially. There's someone from my airport that's from the Bronx, and when I'm around him, we talk funny. I mean, we must sound like we talk funny to other people, but around him, I really hear it, you know, but I try to sound civilized when I'm around other people. But around my first CFI was from Alabama. I mean, I sounded very, very New York around him, and the two of us in flight lessons could alone have been a comedy show. I'm telling you guys. It was hysterical, like, because obviously there's like a certain way everybody learns to talk, you know, and you don't speak in textbook language when you speak in normal conversation. So I remember he would be showing me like basic things that you show a private pilot, right? Like trim. He go, you got to use that trim, girl. Come on, trim her out. Trim that aeroplane. And I was like, what do you do with the airplane? I don't understand what you're talking about. And it was so funny. Like we would have so many misunderstandings, funny misunderstandings. He was a trip. But anyway, so I brought my friend Justin this morning. I was actually sick for 2 weeks, guys. I was sick. First it started my throat really hurting, and then I tried to ignore that for a while, and then it went to my ears, and once it was in my ears, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ignore it anymore. You know how you think you can ignore a sickness away, and then sometimes you can, actually. This one would not be ignored. So, but when it went into my ears, I was like, no. I went to the doctor, I got some medicine, and then my first flight after 2 weeks, I asked my friend Justin, who was also a rated pilot, if he would come with me and be my safety pilot. And luckily he was available this morning because look, it's perfect VFR. This is beautiful, perfect VFR. It doesn't get much better than that. This is a kind of VFR where if you're standing on the ground, you want to be in the air. And you're like, how much money do I have? Can I go flying? Is the plane available? Who's got it now? You know what I mean? Like, this is that weather that you want to fly in. And then, so actually I had gotten, you know what was crazy? I noticed that I was sick. This is when I noticed. When I was tying the wings down from the flight I did before this, 2 weeks ago. And my throat was closing up as I was tying the wings down. And yeah, and then it just got worse and worse. But that flight actually I had done with my dad. My dad didn't even know I was a pilot, actually, until after I earned my license. And like I said, I'm from New York. My family's from New York. We're New York Jews. You know, we didn't know anything about aviation. I'm the first person in my family to be a pilot, to even be involved in aviation in any way. So, you know, growing up in New York and stuff like that, you don't even meet pilots. You know, now most of my friends are pilots because I work at the airport and I'm a pilot. But So anyways, my dad, it just completely shocked him, and he was so happy. And I didn't tell him when I was a student because, like, I had enough with my own emotional highs and lows as a student that I didn't need to, like, schlep him into those emotional highs and lows with me. So yeah, I just told him after. And then he was really proud of me, but it wasn't until he came and visited me in Florida and I took him flying where he was like, okay, this is real. Like, she is actually a pilot. Like, I'm in the sky with her right now. And I could tell by how he was in the plane. Like, we are so similar. The way that I was when I started flying, I could see in him, like, extremely comfortable in the sky immediately. Like, he was a bird, like born born a bird. I don't know how to say it. And extremely curious, like asking me a million questions, like, how does this work? And what does this do? And, I'm asking about traffic and all these things. And I'm like, I see so much of my early hours in my dad. It's crazy. I think he wants to start taking lessons too. I would be so happy to help him with any way I can, like with the private pilot ground school material. Which can get pretty dense. Flights like these are when I really feel and remember, what I went through all that for. Because there's no way to get to this point where you're just having like a nice flight on a Thursday morning without, going through all of that. And it hasn't been that long since my check ride. It's been February 21st, 2024 was my check ride. But it's kind of been long enough, and I have enough hours right now as a private pilot to where I kind of like the student days are kind of getting behind me, and it's really nice. It feels really nice. Like, flying keeps turning into something else. Like, every 20 hours or so it transforms into something else amazing. But yeah, so there's always a flight. I realize there is always the flight in your head, in your imagination, and then there's a flight that happens in reality, and they're two completely different flights. Like, when I looked at the TAF for both airports this morning, I'm like, okay, it's definitely going to be a left base for 2-5, and it was a left base for 2-5 in Gainesville, but it was not any kind of normal left base. It's never normal. This is what Tower told me. I'm not kidding. I'm not over exaggerating. You can ask my friend Justin, who was with me. They told me when I was obviously at about, 10 miles out, I was going to start descending. They knew I was going to start descending. They probably saw me descending. They were like, 28 X-ray, just stay at your altitude at 4,500 feet. Stay right there. There's someone coming at your 12 o'clock. At your 12 o'clock, it's 3,000 feet right now. Just keep on don't deviate. Stay on your, heading. But he's climbing. He's on your 12 o'clock. He's climbing. He's at 3,000 feet, though. You're all set. What is he climbing at 25 feet per minute? I'm just like, are you sure you don't want me to move? They were like, no, that's cool. Just stay right there. Just don't deviate. I'm like, okay. And then I'm thinking about that thing in the far aim where it's like, oh, as PIC, you are the final arbiter as to what happens in the plane. I'm like, maybe I should go this way or that way. But I did climb actually a little of 4,600 feet. Yeah, that was kind of weird. But yeah, so that's what happened. And then I ended up dropping like a rock into the pattern because, I was at my cruising altitude, very, very in the airspace already. But, anyways, I'm coming into land. That runway still looks really small to me. I remember the first couple times I landed on these small runways. Because, I train in Gainesville. I train in St. Augustine. Got that big 8,000 foot runway. And I'm looking at this 725 and it's 4,100 feet. And to my eyes, it just looked like a toothpick. Honestly, I remember saying to my CFI, I'm like, am I really going to land this plane on this toothpick? He's like, yeah, you will. You'll do fine. It'll be fine. I'm like, really? But yeah. That's how I describe it to my mom. I'm like, it's weird, Mom. You would think, that the airport would look huge from the sky, and it doesn't. It honestly does look like a toothpick on the ground. So here I go climbing out. It was a touch and go, and nobody got money to go taxiing around Gainesville. Anyways, I did let my friend Justin Like I said, he's a rated pilot. I did let him feel the climb a bit, so I gave him controls because it's a new engine in this plane, and I was like, you gotta feel this thing. It feels really cool. So, and then he filmed me. He just took controls for a few minutes and then filmed me again as I flew back to St. Augustine. But I'm gonna end the video here. So, you know, small doses are better, I feel, and long half-hour videos of rambling. But yeah, I wanted to show you a little bit of my cross country this morning and take you with me on this beautiful, perfect VFR weather day. Really nice. I don't think I could ever get bored of going to Gainesville. Even though it's just Gainesville, I don't think I could ever get bored. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.